Hello, I'm Travis Contreras, and you're watching Start Here, Get There at TVH. In this quick video, we'll take a first look at today's topic, or give you a fast summary if you're reviewing. You'll get the key ideas and see how this connects to the bigger picture in our course. Grab something to write with, and jot down anything that stands out or questions you want to remember. Feel free to pause the video to think things through, or rewind if you need a recap. Ready to jump in? Let's get started.
The Bill of Rights represents one of the most important foundations of American democracy. The Bill of Rights refers to the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution, ratified on December 15, 1791. Following the signing of the Constitution in 1787 and its ratification in 1789, these amendments were added to address concerns about individual rights. The Bill of Rights was created primarily as a response to anti-federalist concerns about potential government overreach in the new constitutional system. These amendments established the fundamental principles of liberty and justice that would guide the nation. By limiting government power and securing individual freedoms, the Bill of Rights became a cornerstone of American constitutional governance. Understanding the Bill of Rights is essential for appreciating the foundations of American liberty and the ongoing protection of individual rights. The First Amendment establishes 5 essential freedoms that form the foundation of American democracy. It states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. These 5 freedoms are religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Freedom of religion prevents the government from establishing an official religion while protecting every individual's right to practice their faith. This creates the separation of church and state, a foundational concept in American governance. Freedom of speech protects the expression of ideas and opinions, including symbolic speech and expressive conduct. While there are limited exceptions for direct incitement of imminent lawless action, this freedom remains central to democratic discourse. Freedom of the press safeguards publishing and news reporting from government control. It guards against prior restraint, enables government accountability, and extends to all forms of media in the modern era. Freedom of assembly guarantees the right to gather peacefully for protests, demonstrations, and other collective actions. While subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, this freedom is essential for collective expression. The right to petition allows citizens to appeal directly to government for change, including through lobbying and legal challenges. This ensures government responsiveness and provides a mechanism for seeking redress. These 5 freedoms work together to create a system where citizens can freely express themselves, gather information, associate with others, and hold their government accountable. Collectively, these freedoms prevent government censorship and ensure citizens can actively participate in democratic governance through expression, information sharing, and collective action. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures of people and property. This amendment requires law enforcement to obtain warrants based on probable cause before conducting searches. Warrants must specifically describe the place to be searched and items to be seized. This amendment forms the foundation of privacy rights in America. Now let's examine the Fifth Amendment protections. The Fifth Amendment contains several key protections for those accused of crimes. It grants the right to remain silent to avoid self-incrimination, protecting individuals from being forced to testify against themselves. The amendment also prohibits double jeopardy, meaning a person cannot be tried twice for the same crime. Additionally, it ensures due process of law and requires a grand jury for capital crimes. Let's continue with the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to a fair and speedy trial. This includes the right to be tried by an impartial jury of one's peers in the district where the crime occurred. The amendment also ensures that trials happen without unnecessary delay. Additional protections include the right to know the nature of accusations, to confront witnesses, and to have legal counsel. Finally, let's examine the Eighth Amendment protections. The Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment and excessive bail or fines. This amendment prevents the government from imposing torturous, barbaric, or disproportionate punishments. It also ensures that bail and fines are not set at unreasonably high amounts, making it impossible for defendants to pay. These protections ensure that criminal penalties remain proportional to the crimes committed and prevent the justice system from becoming a tool of oppression. Together, these four amendments form the cornerstone of criminal justice protections in the American legal system. After establishing individual liberties and limits on government power in criminal proceedings, the Bill of Rights concludes with two crucial amendments that address the relationship between federal authority, state sovereignty, and individual rights. The Ninth Amendment addresses a fundamental concern of the Anti-Federalists, that listing specific rights in the Constitution might imply these were the only rights citizens possessed. This amendment declares that the enumeration of certain rights in the Constitution should not be construed to deny or disparage other rights retained by the people. The Ninth Amendment acknowledges that citizens possess natural and fundamental rights beyond those explicitly listed in the Constitution. This amendment prevents a narrow interpretation of rights and protects the breadth of liberties Americans enjoy. The Tenth Amendment completes the Bill of Rights by addressing the distribution of power between federal and state governments. It states that powers not delegated to the federal government by the Constitution nor prohibited to the states are reserved to the states or to the people. This amendment was designed specifically to prevent federal overreach and preserve the sovereignty of states within the federal system. The Tenth Amendment reinforces the federalist structure of American government, ensuring a balance of power between national and state authorities. Together, the Ninth and Tenth Amendments create a constitutional framework that distributes power among the federal government, state governments, and the people. This careful balance was designed to prevent any single authority from becoming too powerful, while preserving individual liberties and enabling effective governance. The framers recognized that defining the boundaries of government power was essential to preserving liberty. These final amendments provide the constitutional foundation for ongoing debates about federalism that continue to this day. The Bill of Rights did not emerge in a vacuum, but was deeply shaped by historical events and earlier documents. The Bill of Rights was influenced by several earlier documents, including the English Bill of Rights from 1689, which established parliamentary sovereignty and protected certain rights of subjects. Its roots can be traced back even further to the Magna Carta of 1215, which limited royal authority and established the principle that even monarchs are subject to the law. Colonial charters and state constitutions also protected various rights of colonists, establishing precedents for the Federal Bill of Rights. The principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence, particularly those regarding natural rights, heavily influenced the framers' thinking. At the Constitutional Convention and during the ratification debates, a central conflict emerged between those who supported the Constitution as written and those who demanded explicit protections for individual rights. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, became the principal author of the Bill of Rights, despite initially believing such amendments were unnecessary. George Mason, who refused to sign the Constitution because it lacked a Bill of Rights, was influential in pushing for these protections. Thomas Jefferson, though in France during the convention, strongly advocated through correspondence for explicit protection of individual liberties. Over time, the Supreme Court has shaped how we understand and apply the Bill of Rights. The court's interpretations have evolved as society has changed. In Gitlow versus New York in 1925, the court began applying the First Amendment to state governments, not just the federal government, through a process called incorporation. Miranda versus Arizona established the requirement that police inform suspects of their rights, including the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. New York Times versus Sullivan created strong protections for press freedom, especially regarding criticism of public officials. More recently, in District of Columbia versus Heller, the court affirmed that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to possess firearms, independent of militia service. Through the incorporation doctrine, the Supreme Court gradually applied the Bill of Rights to state governments via the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause. The Bill of Rights remains vital to American democracy today. Its principles continue to limit government power and protect individual liberties in ways the framers could not have imagined. The Fourth Amendment's protections against unreasonable searches now extend to digital surveillance and data privacy. First Amendment protections now encompass online speech, social media, and digital expression. Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights ensure that even as law enforcement techniques advance, due process protections remain in place. The Bill of Rights is especially crucial for protecting minority viewpoints and preventing majority tyranny. The First Amendment's religious clauses continue to maintain the separation of church and state in an increasingly diverse society. The Bill of Rights stands as a foundational element of American constitutional democracy, establishing boundaries that government cannot cross and articulating values that define the nation. As Thomas Jefferson reflected, the constitutional freedom of religion is the most inalienable and sacred of all human rights. The enduring legacy of the Bill of Rights continues to shape American society, preserving essential freedoms for future generations.